Comments: as soon as you're born, you're issued a birth certificate. Most Christians don't have this. So baptized, all these records go to the Vatican. So when you're born and your parents sign the birth certificate, that's a slave contract with the Vatican. It also creates your citizenship, and a trust is created. Look up the Sesta Trust Act of 1666. This trust also has a bank account with it that gets bonded with around $1 million by the International Monetary Fund. That Sesta Trust, the money in that trust is incentivizing judges and defense attorneys and people that work in the court systems, in the legal systems, and the Bar Association, which is the attorneys, the lawyers. The B in bar stands for British. You are a slave to the British Crown, and when you get sent to court, the judges are taking money out of your Sesta trust. So these Sesta trusts are actually incentivizing the matrix agents, because the judges and the recording clerks and the bar association, those are all matrix agents that are put in place to enslave you and kidnap you and kill you and steal money from you. And this Sesta Trust Act and the signing of the birth certificate, all this stuff is part of the system of enslavement. You are property of the British Crown once that birth certificate is signed and your citizenship is created. The citizens are all slaves. The citizens are the property of the British Crown. When you sign the birth certificate for your children, your children now belong to the British Crown, or they belong to the state. They belong to the government. They belong to the matrix. That's why there's so many children that get taken from their parents by CPS, Child Protective Services, is because if you're a citizen and you signed the birth certificate and you made your kids citizens, they're no longer your kids. They're the government's kids. And the government will take them under the guise of protection. And then once the government takes your kids and they get them in the foster care system because you have been deemed a bad parent, and they're now protecting your children, so they start putting them in the foster care system. And then what happens is they're going to move them around from one foster care home to another, and they're going to move them farther and farther away from you while you're battling in court trying to get your kids back. And what they want to happen is for you to eventually give up or run out of money, because to go into court all the time trying to hire the lawyers, which aren't even on your side, by the way, the lawyers aren't even on your side, they all work for the matrix, it's all a scam, it's all a fraud. They're hoping that you eventually just give up and just come to the realization that, okay, the government took my kids, I'm not going to get them back, and then the government's going to get them lost in the foster care system. They're going to keep moving them farther and farther away from you in different foster care homes, eventually to a point to where you have no contact with the children, and no one you know has contact with the children. Then they're going to delete the files, and your children are going to get trafficked.